What's up, everybody? This is Pastor Ty, and here I am excited because we get to talk about something that is near and dear to my heart, uh, and I get to share a platform with somebody who's going to be able to share some amazing um, things along the lines of mental health. Something that I don't want to get ahead of myself in the topic, but we're going to dig deep into this thing. So today I have with me mental health professional Laurie Ford, and we're fortunate enough to also have her as a part of our Flowing Life family. And so I wanted to utilize this gift that we have, a part of our family, to be able to help a lot of people, not just for COVID-19. Of course, there's a lot going on right now with that. But just everyday life, man. There's so many things that we deal with mentally, and sometimes, whether you're a Christian, whether you're a believer or not, this is something that is necessary for everybody. And so I don't want to prolong it too much, but I want to jump right into it. She is a professional. She knows what she's talking about. This is something that she does on a daily basis and seeing many clients every single week. And so this is not just Pastor Ty talking and I'm going to give you a spiritual remedy to something mental that you're dealing with, even though I have a good grasp for mental health, but I wanted to have a professional, somebody who knows what they're talking about, tackle some things that we want to cover today. So I want to introduce to you guys Miss Laurie Ford, and I'm gonna give you a second just to introduce yourself and tell everybody what you do.
Okay. Hey everybody, I am Laurie Ford. I am a licensed clinical mental health professional, which is a just more professional name for mental health therapist. I have been in the field for 7 years. I was a school counselor first, and now I'm a therapist, and I treat individuals with mental illnesses such as anxiety, depression, schizophrenia, PTSD, anything you name it. But I also help treat clients who have general issues such as balance in life, stress management, self-esteem, confidence, using your time wisely, self-acceptance, healthy relationships, communication. And so that's what I do. I've also worked with children, adolescents, and women. And I would say my niche is more millennial women and teenagers, specifically young girls.
Now you just covered like a whole slew of topics that you cover. So everything that she just listed, I'm pretty sure everybody that's going to be watching today, you fit under one of those categories. I want to jump right into this because I don't want to waste any time at all, because I know mental health dives very, very deep and has many categories. But one of the first things I do want to ask, because we are currently in this COVID-19 or entering into this post-COVID-19 world, what would you say to somebody who is extremely anxious about the infection, currently, and or as we're starting to open the country back up, they have this mass feeling of anxiety about going back into the world and contamination and just staying safe and not being, all of those things. What would you say about something? Because that's a real feeling that people are having when they trap themselves in their home.
Yeah, definitely. And I see this on a daily basis. And I would say I always start with telling my clients, focus on the part that you can control. You can't control the virus. You can't control what our authority and government do. But what you can control is what you do and using your wisdom. For example, just because they're opening up on May 8th doesn't mean you have to open up your home or you have to open up yourself. You still wear your mask, still wear your gloves, still use wisdom, still allow no company in your home. So you have to really ground yourself and focus on, what can I control as a person? What can I control in my household? And how can I keep myself safe and not worry about what the government has decided to do? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Don't think that I'm not listening. That's what I was trying to get my notes.
Okay, no, you're fine.
Focus on what you can control. Hey guys, I see you in the comments. Everybody's saying hi.
Hey.
And if you guys have any questions, you guys jump in the comments if you have questions about mental health as well, so that we can ask a professional. But I heard you say focus on what you can control, and Laurie, I mean, if we're gonna be real, on this stream, then I have to go there and say that, you know, it sounds good. Focus on what you can control. But right now, people feel like I don't have any control. You know what I mean? Like I'm losing control. Nothing around me is with, like everything is, nothing around me is normal. You know what I'm saying? Like, so what do you say to the person that's saying, hey, like this is just, we've never been here before. I don't know what to do. Nothing's within, you know, money doesn't look like what it used to look like. My schedule doesn't look like, my kids are not in school. Like I don't feel like I can control anything.
So let's talk about anxiety in general. So anxiety is just like anxious thoughts, persistent anxiousness, racing thoughts, and worry. And so let's think about when you become anxious. It is a sense of normalcy to be anxious a little bit. Like that's normal to be nervous. If you don't do that, then you're not a human. Like you don't get anxious a little bit or nervous a little bit. However, everything you just said were external factors, right? The world, the this, everything is external. So when it comes to focus on what you can control, your actions, your ideas, your words, so everything is internal. When I say focus on you can control, you internal. So for example, you said like finances. We all know that right now, some people may not have a job, some people may be struggling, but what can we control in that? And so I've helped my clients call creditors. I've helped my clients call, you know, Duke Energy to set up so you can control those things. And a lot of them are extended it. So we like, oh my God, they're going to cut my lights off. Do you know that? Where are the facts in this? The fact is you don't know because you didn't even call. So let's try to call. So we're focusing on what we can do. Also for the household is unknown and unstable for a lot of people because everything is just different. The kids not going to school, your parents might not be, but what can you do in your power to make sure your house have a routine and stability? So dinner time is not going to change. You're still going to get up at 7:30 in the morning, just as if you're going to school. We are going to work. It may not be 8 hours of work, but we're going to try to create a routine that's conducive for my household. It's not going to look like CMS public school, is going to look like the Ford's home school. So you still have to keep that structure in place. So when I say focus on what you can control, a lot of times it sounds cliche, but we have more power than we actually give ourselves credits for.
I agree with that completely. And there's two things that you said right there. The first one was call and check, you know, checking with those utility companies. And that's something that we did not, people should know this, but it's something that a lot of people probably did not know before COVID-19 because they've never had to or just didn't know that they could do that. And some people assume that with COVID-19, this is the first time that companies would allow people to push back their payments or to be deferred. And that's something that I learned a few years ago. I used to panic when I had a bill coming due and I couldn't pay it, and I used to freak out. And even, you know, after I got married, one time, my wife and I, we came up short one month, and so we just had the idea, well, let's go ahead and call. So we called, and they said, hey, you know, actually, within your contract, you're allowed to defer a payment or push a payment back one time every year, or it might be 2 times within the term of your contract. And those are things you don't know unless you actually look into it. And this might actually be a good segue, but I feel like sometimes with church and Christianity and as believers, sometimes we'll give you the spiritual side, but not the practical side.
Exactly.
So I'll give you, hey, let's pray about it. Hey, let's fast. Let's fall on our face. And then it's like, okay, but after I get done with all of that, I still don't got the money. Like, what do I need to do now? And so those are the practical things. And it's just like, okay, well, all right, go ahead and call them. What can I do? What are my options? So with that said, what do you think about the church concerning mental health? Do you feel like mental health is over spiritualized, not spiritualized enough? Talked about, well, I'm not gonna say talk about too much because I already know the answer to that. But kind of what are your thoughts about having mental health concerning church or in church or taught about or explained and that type of thing?
I would say to the church's defense, I don't think the church or the people because we are the church, I don't think we've been taught enough about mental health to feel comfortable enough to even address it in spiritual or church settings due to generational barriers. And I will just speak for the African American community. Due to generational barriers, we haven't been educated enough about it. We've been taught just to pray, just to lay a sheet, just to put the anointing oil. But even in the Bible, it talks about schizophrenia and depression and everything that we experience now. And so I would say, to the church's defense, they have not been big on advocating for mental health. I haven't seen a whole lot of seminars on mental health. I haven't seen, even now in COVID, I see a lot of churches financially giving. I see them giving food, but I don't see any, hey, these are, even something as the National Suicide Prevention Hotline should be on websites for churches. I don't even see that. And I think to church's defense, it's just a lack of knowledge there. And so for us in the African-American community, when we do have more African-American therapists and professionals, it's our job to advocate and partner with the church to say, hey, these are the services I offer. Can I partner with you guys and educate the pastors and the deacons and the first lady and educate the ministry on it, so then they can say, oh, okay, I didn't know. Okay, well, this your platform. Yes, my church should definitely benefit, because I know as pastors, you guys counsel and you see people that may be dealing with issues that practically you can't really handle, but spiritually you can. And so I would say, I think especially in the African-American community and churches in the world, we have to do more as far as educating for mental health, advocating, and doing something more than just praying for them, but you have to do the practical aspect as well.
Definitely. I completely agree. Just a side note real quick, you guys, if you're watching, go ahead. This Q&A is not just me and this professional, but if you guys have questions, go ahead and drop them in the comments also, and we'll try to cover them with the time that we have. But from what you said, I think that that's key. And I try my best even to be of course you want to be spiritual, but you want to be practical. Even in terms of, if somebody were to come and say, hey, pastor, I'm on this medicine, but I'm believing that God is going to completely heal me and take me off. So starting today, I'm not going to take my medicine. My answer in most cases, my answer would not be, okay, believe God, stop taking that medicine because that's your faith. Not necessarily. My answer more so would be, I love your faith, and that is the faith that will heal you. But you need to continue taking that medicine, right? And again, in most cases. Now, there are some very rare cases, of course, being led by the Spirit, but I also feel like there's that practicality in place. But then go to the doctor, get yourself checked out. If you believe that God healed you, make that appointment, go to the doctor, and then get that proof as well to say, hey, it's cleared up, it's gone. You know what I mean? But having that practicality, because in a lot of situations, I feel like people come up for prayer and they have a moment or an emotional experience, and then they walk away not with any practical tools, right, to use and apply to their everyday lives. And that's something that even I would like to see. I would like to see more of. Now, with your experience on kind of a day-to-day situation, do you see more or less Christians? Do you see more or less African Americans as opposed to any other race? Do you see more people? You see more millennials than older generation or younger generation? What kind of is I like to call it maybe an avatar? What does the average person look like that you see on a regular basis?
Okay, can I give some feedback on what you just said before this question?
Go for it.
Okay, so I do want to say with the medicine thing, I love that you brought that up, because a lot of people do that, or be like, oh, I'm not taking this medicine, I'm going to be healed. But I don't think, I educate my clients on, they don't even know where the disorder came from. And so for instance, they don't know that they have a chemical imbalance, and it can be passed down generational in genetics or environmental or substance abuse. Those just different ways. And so they thinking like, it's not just I scrape my leg, you hit it and put a Band-Aid on it. And so this is something that with medicine and therapy, you can be healed. You cannot do one without the other in some of the disorders. And so I always use the example, if you were diagnosed with cancer, you're not going to just say, let's just pray about it and go home. You're going to do chemotherapy. So it's the same exact thing. And so you have to put the practical with the spiritual in general, or that healing, we have to take what our work is, that we have to put it in that work. You know, we have to be wise and go to the professionals as well. And the doctor, you're going to the doctor, even if you got a migraine, you're going there. So it's the same thing going to a professional for if you're hearing voices or hallucinating, you don't want to feel that way. So you have to take that medication along with the therapy to make sure that that healing is taking priority. So I just want to put that nugget there, because even with my clients, I always have an educational session or sessions about your disorder, so you can get a understanding of what it is, so you can decide how you want to heal in this process.
Exactly. So part of what I was asking too, and that's good information too, because I even consider, even throughout the Bible where Jesus is doing miracles, he normally gives some type of instruction in a lot of cases, and those instructions is similar to that medicine. He's like, hey, I need to do X, Y, Z. Boom, go do X, Y, Z, and as they do it, then of course, then the supernatural healing happens.
Right.
So what is kind of your normal? I know some information you're not allowed to divulge, of course, but what does kind of your typical person look like? Is it a black and white thing? Is it a old and young thing? Is it a Christian, non-Christian believer thing? What do your clients look like? Or is it all over the place?
It's all over. I have been blessed to have a mixture. And I think because of my location, I was originally in Concord, North Carolina, and Salisbury. And because of my location, I see more Caucasian clients. I have African-American clients. I have Hispanics and Caucasian, but it's all over. I recently stopped seeing clients after younger than 12. But I have children, I have adolescents, and I have women. But I can say I do not have a whole lot of men. I can count on my hand how many men I see. I do have a couple. I have a couple teenage boys, but I don't have a lot of men. But I can say through COVID, it has increased. More men have been reaching out and scheduling appointments since COVID. I will say that.
So what are your thoughts on that as far as the men? Because I would imagine, I might be wrong, but I imagine that at the young men may be their parents bringing them in.
It is definitely.
So adult men, what do you say about that? The adult men, that's kind of the minority. What's your thoughts on that?
So a lot of the adult men
way about that too.
Yeah. A lot of my adult men, whether it's my Caucasian or African American, whatever, they come to me guarded, right? They've been taught to be this provider and this protector, and I don't want to feel vulnerable. That's just how they made. And so when I normalize that for them, like, this is okay, this is what you've been taught. However, it sounds like you've been through some traumatic experiences that you would need help with in order for you to become that better man or the best version of yourself. And once I kind of bring that guard down and just let them know that it's okay, like, it's okay for you to cry, it's okay for you to want to be a better man for your family. This is all normal things, and I understand you're on guard because you've been abused or whatever. And so then they keep coming back, because at first they don't feel like this is a normal thing for a man. A man shouldn't be talking to a woman, let alone anyone, about their issues. And then when they realize how young I am, they're like, what you gonna do for me?
What you gonna offer me?
What you gonna offer me? And then they're like, wow, like, I didn't know it was, because I always ask at the end, like, what did you get out of this session? And some of them like, I'm just glad I was able to vent and you made me feel comfortable. And so that's what I'm seeing now. I think is the preconceived, thoughts and talk about what society think therapy is. They hold on to that. And then they also would say, like, the generational thing of what goes on in my house, stay in my house. And I make this example all the time. And I ask, well, where did you get that from? And of course, they're like, mom, dad, cousin. And I said, you know why? What goes in your house doesn't stay in your house? And they're like, why? I said, because you've been carrying it like you going from airport to airport and you're just dropping it off. You're carrying it on your back like a suitcase because you said what goes on your house, stay in your house, but you just carried it to this relationship. Now you divorced. Now you carried it to the next relationship. Now you're divorced. You carried it to your child. So what went on in your house didn't stay in that house because you carried it on to everybody else.
That's heavy. And I like that. And there was something that you said in there about, guys not wanting counseling, not wanting to open up. And I'll say, and I definitely believe that men have a challenge with that for sure. Because even with marriage counseling, I see in most cases women are like, "Let's do it," and the guys are like, "Not having."
Right.
But so not just for guys, but for, and I see that question. I'll come to it next before we finish up. Not just for the guys, but for anybody, because I've talked to a lot of people who, just as a pastor, they're like, pray for me. But for me, it's like, yes, I'll pray for you, but then let's talk.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the people who are like, no, I don't want counseling because then that I feel like I'm crazy. I don't want a therapist because then people are going to think something is wrong with me. I don't want to go sit in somebody's chair and tell them my life story. It's all these thoughts that we have about what
Right.
counseling and therapy is, especially being a mental health. People think they're crazy. What would you say to that person who's like, I don't want people to think that I'm crazy. That's why I haven't gone out to schedule a meeting with a mental health therapist.
So first, I always get their perspective of what is crazy. What does that mean? What does that look like? Talk to me. Where did you hear that from? Have you ever heard of therapy? Or because sometimes they're like, I heard of it, but that's what such and such said. And so therapy is for everyone. Everybody deals with something that you will not want to talk to your mom, your brother, your spouse about. So therapy is for everyone. We all go through things that we can't necessarily talk to someone who just loves us so much about. You deserve to go to a therapist who is non-judgmental, who can help you through big situations or small situations. Getting another non-judgmental, unbiased perspective from someone will help you and bring you 10 steps forward than you could bring yourself. It's so many, and a lot of times I tell my clients, like, it's not your fault. This is the environment you were raised in. These are the things that you internalize. And so it's not your fault that you chose an abusive husband because you seen your dad beat on your mom. Like, that was instilled in you. And that was your mom and your dad are the first two people that shows you a real relationship. And that also shows you what a woman and a man is. So it's not your fault. You chose it. However, it is your fault that if you don't choose something different today. Right.
Yeah.
If you come to therapy and today you realize you have that choice to say, you know what, I was in that environment and yeah, I made some mistakes, but today I'm realizing that these mistakes do not define me. So I have to choose to do something different. So I always normalize and say, guys, therapy is not this, we don't go tell your business. This is nothing we're going to put on social media, have your name on it. This is a comfortable place where you can address situations that you're not taught to handle, put it that way. You haven't been taught to handle. And I always tell my clients, don't look at me as a therapist, look at me as your accountability partner, because that's what I am. I'm holding you accountable to what you said you wanted, what you deserve. And I'm holding you accountable to be the best version of yourself. And in therapy, the first intake, I have my clients visualize this person that they want to become, because if you don't have that destination, you don't know how to get there. And so today you're going to visualize, this is the person I want to become, and we're going to work towards getting there, guys. So just remember that whatever the world is telling you about therapy and it's negative, it's wrong. And I will say, just to be honest, every therapist is not for everyone. Therapy is for everyone. But me as a therapist and how I do it, I'm not for everyone. And so you have to really, just like you go to the doctor or the gynecologist, you have to figure out which person is best for you. And sometimes it takes 2 to 3 therapists, and that's okay. Don't give up after the first one and say, oh, I knew it wouldn't work. She asked me, all she said was, how do you feel? That's it. So, okay, that's okay. So at the end of the day, you have to keep going and find the one that works for you. And so I just encourage everyone to let your guard down and know that therapy is normal. It's just like getting up, taking a shower. You're not going to go years without taking a shower, right? That's self-care. So therapy is also self-care.
Let me, and I'm gonna get to this last question so we can finish up. But before I say that, I just want to circle back. One of the things I heard you say was just about trying to normalize it. And for people to think that, what they're experiencing and what they're going through, it's not necessarily abnormal. Like, you're not the only person experiencing this. There's people around the world, excuse me, but when people isolate themselves I guess they take on more of the burden for themselves
Yeah.
instead of, you know, you as a mental health counselor saying, hey, there are thousands, millions of people around the world experiencing the same exact thing. Look, you're not alone in this. Like, it's okay. Like, you have these feelings. Let's talk about it.
Right.
Second thing I heard you say was teaching them how to, and I didn't write it down verbatim, but you were basically saying that they have the ability to change their situation, but you're basically teaching them how to use what they're capable of doing anyway. Like, you have the tools to change your situation. You have the tools to overcome whatever you're dealing with, but your job is just to point out the tools that they already have. Your job is just to say, look, you're strong enough to handle this. Hey, when you go home, try this. When you wake up in the morning, meditate on this. When, you know, in the middle of the day, take 5 seconds for yourself and just breathe. And they have that within themselves. You're not giving them something that they don't have. You know what I'm saying? You're just showing them how to use the tools that they already have within them.
I would say the only thing I am giving you is hope. Like, I think the empowerment part of it is you have hope that it will change, and that I think people need validation that this does not, I don't care. I have clients that's like over 50. So they still have hope. Like, but when you're over 50 or in your 60s, you like, oh, life is over for me. And it's really not. Like, for you to, and I tell my clients, you made that first step by coming here today. That's hope. So you're right. It's like everything you need is in you. And also the myth of therapy is people come thinking that the therapist is going to do all the work. And I say, well, I'm not the therapist for you, because I'm giving just as much as you're giving. And let's say you come to a therapist and you say, because the cliche term is, oh, I'm going to therapist to get advice. We don't give advice. We pull it out of you and solutions. We hold you accountable. So if you come to me and say, hey, Lord, what do you think I should do about, you know, my relationship with my husband? And I'll say, well, let's think about this. What have you tried? I'm going to put it back on you, because I already know it's in you. You just want me to tell you what to do, but you already know what to do. And we can work through situations. But as a therapist, we don't give advice and say, go do this and go do this. We give skills and coping skills. If I say go exercise, that's a skill. That's not advice to go get a divorce or, you know, whatever. We don't give that. So I did want to clarify that, because that is a huge myth in therapy, is that we just give you advice and send you home. And that's not what therapy is.
I'm glad you're able to dispel that, because that's part of the reason why I wanted to do this today as well. Because again, people have these preconceived notions and thoughts about what a counselor or a therapist is and what they do. And so immediately they just kind of throw it out, just like, no, I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to dig. People are scared to uncover their past, you know, all of that. But if we can dispel those myths, then people can come and just have a simple conversation like this and just say, yeah, I'm struggling. Like, I need help. It's that simple. Let's hit this last question, because I know we got to finish. For someone who is looking for a therapist, where should they start, and what should they look for in a therapist? And I know you hit some of that. You said, hey, you may not be for everybody. So where should people start? That's the question in the comments. Where should people start to look for a therapist, and what should they look for?
The first place I always refer people, because this is other than websites, is Psychology Today. You can go on Psychology Today. You can type in the state or the zip code, and it has more than enough information about the therapist, how many years they've been in therapy. It even has their license number where you can look them up to make sure they're legit. They're going to be legit, because you can't be on Psychology Today. But it also talks about the insurance that they take. I know that's a lot of questions. Do you take my insurance? And it also, on the right side of the column, it talks about what they specialize in, the age that they work with. So it's so much information on Psychology Today that you can go and actually read through before you keep calling. That's one platform. Another platform is Facebook and Instagram. You can hashtag, like Charlotte, I do COT therapist. You can hashtag Charlotte therapist. You can just look for Black therapist, Caucasian therapist, whatever. You can hashtag and just put in therapy, counseling, online virtual sessions, and you can find a lot of them in your area as well. And also reach out to people that you know who a therapist or seeking counseling. I have a lot of people even reach out to me in different states. I can't necessarily be their therapist, but I always send them to a resource, because they already know, okay, Bing, she's a therapist. She may know how, and it's literally been 4 to 5 people this week who have reached out, and I was able to send them to someone and also send them to actually my book so they can have something to, you know, to break that stigma before they even see a therapist.
And I'm glad you said that, because that's a perfect note to end on. So I'll go ahead and plug you. So Laurie has a therapy workbook, not just a sit down, this is a good read for mental health, an actual workbook where you can, and I don't want to say this line wrong, but pretty much you can heal yourself.
No, you're right. From your couch, like from your couch, from your office.
Right. And the picture on the front is the sofa too. Right. So you can sit down, you can read this book, but it is a workbook where you can work through your actual situation and actually have this thing revealed to you on paper and work through this thing. I would highly recommend it. It is worth it. My wife and I, we have the kind of mindset that being a quality product. And so I know, you know, some people, if you're selling a CD, if you're selling a t-shirt, if you're selling masks right now during COVID-19, whatever you're selling, sometimes certain types of people, even if they're family, they're close to you, they don't want to support for whatever reason. Hey, Laurie, you know, can you cut your price in half for me? Hey, Laurie, can you just slide me one on the table? You know, we family, we cool. No, this is worth the money. So pay the money, get the workbook, because I know that it's going to help you if you need it. But Laurie, can you tell them where they can get your book, if you have it online or on Facebook, or how they can order it, however they need that? Can you give them that information as we finish up?
Right now I have a website called iamenough.live, and that is my book is on there along with
look like somebody posted it already. Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
I
you.
am enough.live, and I have my therapy workbook. I also have, I'm really big on affirmations, and my ministry is I Am Enough. I have a t-shirt on today.
Yeah.
But I do the I Am Enough t-shirts, bags, coffee mugs.
And all of that is available
all of it is available on iamenough.live. However, for Mental Health Awareness Month, whenever the Lord put in my spirit to offer discounts or do anything free, I'll listen. So for Mental Health Awareness Month, my books are only $20. They are usually $30, and my t-shirts are $18 only for the month of May. So if you want the discount, you will have to reach out to me via Facebook, Instagram, or email, and I will be able to assist you in how to get the discount and how to purchase the discount. So the fully priced products are on my website. The discounted products, you will have to reach out to me. Facebook is just Laurie Ford. Instagram is _miss.ford, sorry. And then my email is l.fordcounseling@yahoo.com if you want to reach out to me to get your discounted book or t-shirt. And I only have the t-shirts in pink and gold, and then the other t-shirts it's black and gold.
Now what's your email again? Because we want to make sure people get that. We got your IG, we're on Facebook, so that's good. IG,
L.Ford, F-O-R-D, counseling is spelled COUNSELING @yahoo.com.
Got it. Okay, so we're gonna put that up now so everybody can get that. It's interesting because for this Q&A, not once did I consider your book or your line or your website or push it. I'm like, man, people just need this. They need this mental health information. And so I'm glad you mentioned that, because that reminded me to say something about it. So you guys are going to get that, because I know it's going to be good for you. Not just the plugs to get you to go and buy some stuff, but because this is very essential to where we are right now, the state of our world. And of course, if you are a believer in a Christian, man, this is something that you need as well. I think she said it before. You need, what'd you say? You need healing and medicine. What'd you say?
Healing plus therapy. I always say God plus therapy equals healing. That's my slogan. God plus therapy equals you need the spiritual, you need the practical, and that equals healing. And if you do want to know way more about my book, it's also published on Amazon, and I have at least 17 reviews on Amazon right now. And you can read about it and how the Lord showed me how to work. Somebody posted
that link for Amazon too. Yes. And if you guys have the book, like she said, go ahead to Amazon and leave a review. That way more people can hear about it and see it and plug it yourselves. So like I said, I know we strapped for time. So Laurie, I want to thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. We're definitely gonna have to do this again sometime soon because I know that it is necessary for our current state of the world, but then kind of on a daily basis. Again, like I said at the beginning, whether you're a believer, whether you're a non-believer, whether you're male, female, whether you're black, white, old, young, it does not matter. Mental health issues are all the way across the board.
Yes.
And it is something that everybody needs help with, whether it is just something small like, hey, you know, how do I just clear my mind? Or something big like you've been through a very traumatic experience and you know, you've been oppressed by it. So thank you again for joining us. We appreciate it. We got all your information in the comments. You guys go purchase that book, buy up some of that swag that she has on there, and leave some reviews for her as well. Follow her on IG. We put the IG down there. Also, because she is encouraging us. I thought you said every week, but it might be more often than that with mental health tips. She's putting them on her Facebook page on a regular basis. So be a good person to follow so you can have that information at your fingertips. Thank you again. Do you have any last words before we finish up?
Just thank you. You're welcome. And thank you, Pastor, for allowing me to share my ministry on your platform. For me, this is not just a career. This is my ministry. And I appreciate you guys as a ministry. And if anyone have questions, you can inbox me or email me, and I am available to give you answers.
Sweet. Definitely. That's what we're here for. Appreciate your time and thank you. Appreciate you, Laurie. We will see you guys soon.
See ya. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
All right. Bye.